Raider Nation, if you can't stand up for this week, your legs got to be broke or something, because this was a tremendous week for Raider football. You're in the right place. I am rocking a Lakers jersey because my Lakers won a championship. This is championship Dwayne. So imagine I went crazy. I guess I went so crazy that I ended up getting a noise complaint from my everybody in my building. So, but I'm definitely happy about the Lakers and really happy about the Sunday that we just had, because the Lakers won a championship, and then it almost felt like a championship because the Raiders actually won a game in Kansas City, and that was the game that everybody said that we couldn't win. Everybody on Twitter was throwing up the little clips of when Mariota did it. Beating Alex Smith and company. So the Raiders definitely pulled off a huge game there, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that today as well on the Cover 3 Deep Raiders podcast. Gentlemen, I'm Dwayne Douglas. I'm joined with Ken, with Monster Mash Ken and Sean Oahu Raider out there in Hawaii and Jersey, respectively. Gentlemen, how was your Sunday? Mine was good.
You got a noise complaint. I thought for sure the neighbors were going to come over and think I was beating my wife and kids by after that Henry Ruggs touchdown. I can't remember. I think the only other time I went nuts was when Derek Carr beat the Chiefs with that pass to Crab for the 10 times we won. Right. That was probably the only time where I went that nuts. I'm feeling good, man. It's been a good week.
Yeah, it was a wonderful Sunday. Went just as I predicted.
It did.
In all seriousness, I really thought this would be the year that we would break through and win at Kansas City. We traveled there early in the season. We're playing a Super Bowl team that sometimes, Super Bowl winners see some slumps and figuring some things out. Weird COVID year, but I mean, being out there early in the season with no weather effects at all, quite frankly, it was hot. It was warm. So great. I was super excited. We'll talk about the details within the game that I'm most excited about of what I saw, but biggest win of Gruden and Carr. We said it was week 2 Monday Night Football against the Saints in the Vegas opener. Now they've trumped that, and it's beating all-world Patrick Mahomes, one of the best, offensive quarterback guru minds, and Andy Reid. And this is huge for Carr and Gruden, Mayock, Mark Davis, a whole organization. It does feel like our Super Bowl. It's only week 5, but it is a very important breakthrough win. So I was ecstatic, man.
Yeah. Ken, you're feeling just emotionally, you were going nuts, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because I was too.
It looked like it was going to be a long day in that first quarter.
Oh yeah.
And something that we spoke about in the last show was what we were expecting from the Raiders, and not. I mean, as an organization in a whole, from Carr to Gruden to PG to the defense, Jacobs, all these different elements that needed to click, and it did. And I'm not saying like PG and the defense get a pass because he still allowed a crazy amount of points, and it took 40 points to beat these guys, but that's what it takes to beat probably the best team in football, definitely. And you saw that in the first quarter on how easy they made this look. And what I'm most proud about is, is the way they came out the second half with the adjustments, and nobody scored, but it was like a prize fight. It was like Ali versus Frazier, Ali versus Foreman, and they were taking shots and they were feeling. And then the Raider, it was a dominant win. The score does not reflect what had happened, and that's what I'm most proud of, because Carr silenced for now a lot of hate, and it just wasn't him, but it was a lot of different players. We got to see Aguilar's becoming one of our favorites. We're going to see hopefully what Ruggs can continue to do, because ooh, mama, that boy's got some rockets, man. I love it. Yeah. So I was just over the moon. My wife was happy that I was happy, and she took the kids away so I could enjoy it, and. Yeah, it was a good day, a good week, and everybody's congratulating me because they know I'm die hard, man.
Yeah. So I got two questions from the text line, real quick. The first one is, do we have a renewed faith in Paul Gunther? So we'll talk about that real quick, and I'm gonna put an ixnay on that real quick and say slow your rope. Calm down. On that one, Sean, for you, I'll give you this one first. What are your thoughts about the question we had? Do you have a renewed faith in Paul Guenther as a defensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders?
I'm not going to say renewed faith. I'm going to say credit is due in some certain particular areas. We were young and thin to back-end no-name guys in the defensive line. They showed out. There was guys that some people were tweeting. They weren't even sure who these players were, but they were playing very tough. Maybe that's a credit to Marinelli. Maybe it's a credit to Casey's offensive line just not being that good anymore. But potentially to me, it was to come out at halftime. Mahomes was just – you understand what the kind of quarterback you're dealing with. I mean, you can play pretty perfect defense, and he has the arm to beat windows, and he has the legs to like buy seconds and make these incredible circus throws. So he was beating us with some of those completions, which were frustrating the first half, right? Crosby was close, Key was close, a lot of Farrell was close. You know, I'll highlight him; he did pretty well, and like it was interesting to see him come out in the second half and to show an adjustment to mitigate that. They floated Arden Key in a linebacker spy type of role and used his speed and instincts to shadow in front of the pass rush. And that's when Mahomes really started to fail. So to me, I give credit to Mahomes in that element. And Kwiatkowski looks like he's getting healthy. He looked really good out there. So maybe some of the things are coming together better. 32 points is it is the Super Bowl Chiefs. It is Andy Reid's offense, but 32 points is a lot on the board. So credit due, but no, we got a long season ahead of Guenther having to have some better games.
We keep it real on this show. Ken, what are your thoughts about that question?
Yeah, one of my, as I alluded to earlier, the adjustments that we came out. Something I really liked, and I know Sean's been building this guy up for a long time, is Key being a spy. I loved seeing that because he just kind of lurked like a shadow in the night, just walking around, literally just walking around, following Mahomes. And Mahomes was not able to take off. Hilaire was quiet. Everybody's trying to say, "Oh, he's better than Jacobs." Get the F out of here, man. He ain't better than Jacobs. And he was non-existent.
Yep.
So I just love that. I don't, as Sean said, that we don't know where this came from. Was it Marinelli? I like to imagine that Gruden got into PG's face before this game or whatever during the week and said, "You got to win this game or else." So whatever it was, I think the players were on. They must just hate the Kansas City Chiefs, which it definitely looked like it. But everything worked. Crosby had a great game. I think when Farrell has a good game, Crosby has an even better game, Yep. And I was a little scared because there was no push up the middle. Obviously, we were missing our two starting defensive tackles there. But these guys that stepped in, was it Jones and I can't remember the other guy.
And Chris Smith.
Yeah, Chris Smith and the other guy, I can't remember. But
Wild.
these guys just stepped up and they rose to the occasion on such a monumental game. And I mentioned it before. I put a tweet out saying, Gruden took over and dismantled this team, took away our biggest star in the past decade, brought in all these new players, got these draft picks. And this is the game. Now is the time because we don't have any of those draft picks anymore. That's it. So what are we going to see? It doesn't matter what happens in Oakland. It matters what happens in Kansas City because probably the road to the Super Bowl is going to go through Kansas City. And I'm not saying we're going to go in there in December or January and beat, Kansas City or whatever. That's going to be that's a tall order. But it gives the fan base, it gives the organization hope because they went out there and they didn't just play well, they dominated at points, and they made it look easy. So defense, as far as defense goes, I don't think Paul Guenther is the long-term answer here, but I hope I'm wrong because it's going to suck to hit the reset button.
Yep.
And I think these young guns are going to climb aboard. Sean said it too, a lot of young players, injuries, different players at different positions. Jeff Heath is in there. But it's good. I'm glad that they were able to pull this out, and especially going into the bye week because we're going to come back healthy. We'll get into that later, I'm sure.
No question about it. Want to shout out folks listening in Paradise, Nevada, Atlanta, Georgia, Santa Rosa, California, Albuquerque, New Mexico, West Des Moines, Iowa, Washington, Virginia, Stoke, Newington, England, and North Shores, Michigan. Out there listening to the Cover 3D Raider podcast. And don't forget to listen to the Blackout podcast, the East Coast Nation podcast, the Put on Waivers podcast, and the Put on Fantasy Football podcast as well. Let's get to our individual thoughts about the game. Ken, I'll let you go first. You can go ahead and get this overview of like what you felt, kind of soup to nuts about Sunday's victory.
Yeah, I think that obviously we knew that this was not going to be a low-scoring game. And was Carr going to rise to the occasion? He's just had so many bad games in Kansas City. And, I wasn't mad at the interception he threw because a lot of it was he was chucking them downfield and guys were open. Everybody was catching the ball finally. Even that shot that he took at Waller, I wasn't mad about it. And I was especially proud because the next go-round when they got the ball, he hit that bomb to Aguilar. And I loved the game plan. And then, you look at the second half of the game, I believe Scott Gilbranson put a tweet out saying what's going on with Jacobs. And as soon as he put that tweet on, Jacobs turned it up, man, and he just took over the game. So I love that game plan. We took control of the ball, didn't give Mahomes a chance, and we executed. We had the one turnover with the interception, but that was it, man. And that's how it should. Maybe there's talk of is this the blueprint to beat the Super Bowl defending champs? Obviously Mahomes can't do anything without the ball. He can't, and I hate Mahomes. I want to punch that dude in the face. I just want to throw that out there. I'll throw it over to Sean because I'm getting all hot over here.
Nah, man. I for me, I think I'm much more of the opposite from what you said. I believed I saw promising signs that we saw even last year when we played Kansas City at home. We were up 10-0. Jacobs was rolling. Game was looking okay. And then we, had bad turnovers and weird communication issues and all kinds of things, and then Mahomes was just aerial attacking us, kind of like what Carr did the other day. So, but for me, I thought it was tough. I think the biggest play in the game is what you talked about, Ken. When Carr overthrew Waller there, who was open, he's 6'6", a big athlete, has a wide catch range. That's when inside I began, as being someone who's very critical of Carr and a lot of elements of his game, I said, damn, I was like, that's going to be a turning point. Mahomes is going to come down. They're going to score 7. Now the pressure's on. There's going to be an argument on the sideline. No. Carr came back with more of an aggressive vengeance, and Gruden did too. The playbook, the game plan, offensively, we had to win with offense. The defense did some things at times to mitigate what Mahomes can do, but let's be honest. I'm so excited to see, on Pro Football Focus, PFF, that Carr's average, yards per downfield attempt is the highest of his career in 7 years. So it's I'm putting that into a category of, guess what? They came out there. They were anxious. Gruden was chomping at the bit to try to beat Andy Reid. We know Carr, what he's on this season. He's trying to prove people wrong. He's trying to – I don't care. People are like MVP and stuff. I don't care about individual awards. I really don't. But what I do care about is that our franchise quarterback went out there and he played with a vengeance and an attitude and an aggressiveness that was the only way we can win that game. Jacobs – he hasn't had a 100-yard rushing game this season. He's extremely talented, but look, we have some banged up issues in the offensive line, and teams want to take him away. Kansas City did a good job early. They were bringing hats on him. They were hitting him. I was like, oh, man. But guess what? We went to something else in the game plan we thought we could work. We get a star player back in Ruggs, who opens up the field. We still have a guy like Waller. Renfro finds some time. Carr held onto the ball at times. At times, I was so excited to see him, his head swiveling around, looking and finding, trusting the pocket time he had. So to me, this was all about Carr taking a step up and winning at Kansas City. Amazing.
Yeah. Back to that interception that he threw, and don't forget Cover 3 Deep on Instagram as well too. But I would say when you throw the ball deep for an interception. It's different when you throw it short, because when you throw it short, you have the threat of the pick six.
Sure.
At least when you throw the ball down the field, the defense comes on the field, maybe you get a stop. And it was him just being aggressive. He floated just a little bit. Waller was in position in front, but a little bit over the top. So, okay, fine. I thought, to me, and I read the remarks of the Honey Badger, who totally disrespected Carr as an individual, totally disrespected the Raiders as an organization. And I thought it was really important that one thing that Derek did throughout his career, I remember his first preseason game. I think he went after, continuously went after Sherman, right? You remember that preseason game? He didn't shy away from going against Honey Badger, and that first bomb to Nelson Aguilar, went from why are we signing him to thank God we signed Nelson Aguilar with all the injuries, was right at Tyrone Matthew. And then later in the game, they try to use what the Patriots did. Let's double everything short. So as soon as he saw that, that's when Ruggs hit the big one down the field, and just seeing that they're able to. And by the way, the linebacker who blitz up the middle, great block by Josh Jacobs to get just enough of them in order to keep him away from Carr, so he can complete that pass. But I mean, the whole team around, just the aggressiveness.
Yes.
That I just want to stay with the team in 2020.
Correct.
Like, there's no reason to go back. Like, stop going. Like, treat this game like you treat these games like you don't have a good defense, because you really don't yet.
Right. Correct.
Just keep going and nobody can. They have shown this season that nobody can stop us but us. And I'm not trying to be like arrogant about it, but like,
great point right there.
But there is nobody. I mean, like, when did they get stopped?
Yeah.
Turnover. They're on their own mistakes. That's the only thing that stopped them.
Both
losses.
Yeah, and I think like the main point that I see with that is considering, as you know, we can understand how, you know, many problems we have on the defensive side of the ball. But to me, when I look at Buffalo and the New England game, both of those games, if we didn't kick field goals in the fourth quarter, we should have had a chance. I'm not saying we'd be 4-0, but we could have been 3-1. We were there. We just were conservative in the red zone. And there's reasons for that. We didn't have big Trent Brown. We didn't have Ruggs. Yeah. Edwards is out. There's all those things. So, but to see Trent come back and Ruggs come back and see you use those tools was great. And I know all three of us have been hard on Gruden at times.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to – maybe his accountability towards his, you know, the defensive side of the ball, he's the offensive mind of this team. So that's what we're going to hold him accountable to. And overall, after seeing what I saw Sunday and taking into account what we've seen, we are the second best, offense in the league outside of the Packers when you consider everything altogether. And guess what? Like, when you talk about names at quarterback in the league right now, it was all Wilson and Josh Allen MVP and Rodgers, but now it's changed a little bit when you really look at it. Hey, again, I don't care about individual awards. I'm just looking at it as are things working. Gruden and Carr, I trust them. I trust them. They just have to stay aggressive like they did against the Saints and reap the rewards of that people aren't keeping up with what we're doing. Carr's checking us in and out of good plays at the line of scrimmage. That's a very underrated thing that the casual fan doesn't pay attention to. But Carr is really smart pre-snap. I've always given him that ever since he walked into the league. And I think now that he's in year 3, this offense, boy, he's got some toys out there. We get Edwards back. We get Incognito back. We get those two people back on the offense. Whatever's going on the defense, it's going to hurt us some games. Absolutely. But if the offense can keep this up, we're a playoff team. Look at the schedule.
The Raiders are 3-2. Their combined record of their opponents is 15-7. They're 3-0 with Ruggs in the lineup. And they did not allow a third down conversion in the second half.
That's amazing.
Impressive.
That's amazing. Yeah. So
I'll take that.
Yeah, something both of you guys said that really stuck out with me is, we got to just make sure that we are coming back down to earth and realize this defense is not going to win it for us. It's just if they can play
Give us that pass rush.
almost average, every game, almost average. I'm not asking for like the Bears, whatever, the Bears or whatever. I'm asking for just an average defense that'll get you 1 or 2 turnovers, and then I'll make some stops and get some punts in there. Because it's going to be up to what Sean said is, can Gruden and Carr continue to be aggressive? I love that they went for it on 3rd down or 4th down. Those type of plays, I think, inspire these young guys. Like, that's what we're talking about. And they did that in some of these in the New Orleans game, just where you go and you ball out and you're playing to win. You're not playing just to not lose. And Carr plays so much better when he plays aggressive and he's on the attack. He's not trying to, he's not trying to slice up the team or systematically do it. Just go out there. Yeah. If Aguilar and you mentioned Edwards coming back and Ruggs stays healthy, oh mama, that's a lot of speed.
Boy Renfro had a big play.
Listen, that is quarterback one-on-one, that Renfro play. Colton Miller, beautiful. I'm gonna give Colton Miller a new. I don't swear very much on this show, but it's Colton motherfucking Miller, because that dude, that dude,
he was eating it up.
That dude. And I have a lot of respect for Frank for Frank Clark as a pass rusher. He didn't touch the quarterback, and the footwork that he had to slide away from the pressure, to hit, to not overthrow. Renfro, to give him a chance, that he had to stop and come to the inside on a 3rd and 18. It was just magical to watch it. I think this was almost like a friend of mine texted me. He was like, "Yo, this was like a Gruden Carr mixtape. Like they mixed everything up. It was
funny. It's true.
They had some short passes, they had some long passes. You really didn't know what they were gonna do. You sat there and maybe said, "Hey, a Booker's in the game, so it's going to be a pass." No, they gave it to him, and he had a 50-yard run. So
he's been great.
He's been great. And also, Sean, he didn't even abandon the run when they were down by 2 scores, which I thought was huge.
Yeah, I think it was great to see. Like, you have to have those role players be important in an offense, because when you're watching a good quarterbacks like Rodgers, Breeze, Carr hit 11 different receivers again in a game, right? Yes. So people are looking at this like,
who do you key on then? Who do you key on if that's
the case? That's what I'm getting at, is that he has better weapons, a little bit better time, the offensive line, the way things are manufactured. He knows the system more. So you can see him developing this apparatus mentally to where he's going to take the challenging play at times, because he knows he has people that can do this. The more and more faith he has in Aguilar, Ruggs, it's just great. It's great.
It's getting Crabtree level.
It kind of is a little bit. I think Crabtree's totally different in his own right.
He's a player, but I'm just saying the way he trusted him.
I guess as far as the trust and the when you need the big play, I will throw it to you. And it kind of, if you heard some of the sound bites on the sidelines, like Carr was out there, like even the initial first deep completion to Ruggs was a little underthrown. He had to go up and get it, but he's like, just don't let it be, go up and get it. It's your ball. I'm going to give it to you. And those kind of things, that confidence builds something, because you start completing those passes, you'll see what happened. I know Carr talked a lot about Devontae Adams at Fresno State, the way he knew, hey, I'm throwing it up there, he's going to get it. And now that he's having those kind of players around him, it's bringing out that aggressiveness in him, and the conservativeness is slowly going away, right? You just beat the Super Bowl champion, you just beat Mahomes, like forget revenge tour, just stroke. It's like shooters keep shooting in basketball, right? Like you have the green light. Like Carr, okay, this is working, so stick to it and open up the playbook. And Gruden himself now, as a guy who likes to pound the rock and run the ball, we're a balanced offense. If you look at, kind of about how much
it's
we
very
run.
Balanced, very
it's
balanced.
very balanced. but the bulk of the success on this team is Carr throwing the ball. It really is. It really is. So until Jacobs gets that 148-yard game on the ground, until the offensive line, shores up some things, throwing the ball is our strength. You got Waller, you got Ruggs, you got people you can account for. So big ups on Carr, and thanks for highlighting that play, Dwayne, because I thought, Carr made a few plays, like I said earlier, where he held on and looked a little longer. And that window, if you look at Hunter Renfrow was not open on that big 48-yard catch, whatever it was. And that was, I believe, 3rd and 18. I could be wrong.
It was 3rd and 18.
3rd and 18. So, okay, so insane, right? So those plays would normally be a little bit different, in Carr's element. Probably be, oh, look here, it's not here. Jalen Richard 6 yards with punt. For him to hold that and recognize that the one safety shaded over and know that another 2 seconds Renfrow was going to be wide open. These are the things I demand of Carr, because I know he has the talent. And so it's just great to see it come to fruition, because there's so many players that have the talent, but mentally and things, and Carr's been that way. At times I think he's been his own enemy in the way he plays the game at times, but just seeing this confidence build, and I'm super enthused.
That's the thing. It's confidence, and you saw how he moved around in the pocket. He slight steps to the left, or stepping up, and getting those extra 2 seconds to allow these speedy receivers get open, to get Waller open. One pass I didn't like was there was a pass to Witten when we really needed like a first down. Like Witten's not going to do nothing for you. What are you doing? And I mean, I like Witten, as a block. I think it's done. Like they need to get Moreau more involved, because Moreau's the future.
He had a quiet day. He was nowhere.
Yeah, and but I really think that having Trent Brown maybe gave Carr a little bit more confidence. You mentioned something about Josh Jacobs. It's crazy, but as quiet as he's been, he's actually 2nd in yards total.
Yeah, the league's changed.
Yeah, and it's weird, but I mean, it's going to change after this week with the bye or whatever. He's going to have some catching up to do, because it's really close with the next 5 people. But I know individual stats aren't doing. I want him to be top 3 in yards, because I think he's more than capable, and I definitely want Carr to be considered to be an MVP. He needs to play at the MVP level, and the way to do that is going to have to be the medium to long ball and get those chunk yards and to scare defense. And it only works if Jacobs is getting, open, and he's able to hit those holes. Incognito coming back and Trent Brown, I think it's going to happen, and I'm so glad that it's going to happen in the beginning of this. Well, after we get through Tampa Bay, which I do think will be when we get to that in a little bit. But the stretch that we're going to have, I think is going to eat.
Oh, yeah. So, Ken, when this play happened, I thought of you. When Alec Ingold.
Yeah.
The 2-yard pass where he just totally destroyed.
Knocked the head off. Was that guy's head in the helmet? Yeah. I think it was.
The Raiders had a couple of those. I'm gonna start calling him like the old Eddie Murphy movie Golden Child with that last name. But he absolutely. Those hits, and also I think they ran like a reverse to Tyreek Hill where
Kwiatkowski
just destroyed the wide receiver to kind of knock that play out. Knock that play out of the box too as well. So listen, great job as far as that goes. But I thought Alan Ingold, like they used him in a lot of different ways too. He wore that 45, and they had him set up a little bit like Marcel Reese a little bit, because they threw a deep pass to him where that was almost a catch as well. So they really spread the ball around so much. It's very difficult to handle them, Ken.
I feel like the way Gruden does it, the way Carr does it, if there's so many weapons on this offense, and if your number is called, you've got to be ready. I love that they're getting Ingold involved. I'd love to see Moreau get more involved, because Waller is going to eat. Ruggs is going to always have his play. And I can't wait to see what they do with Edwards. Aguilar is going to be that,
only 12 snaps for Foster and Moreau.
Yeah. Renfrow, I think, his as much as I'd like to see him get more receptions, I think he's sneaky quiet. He makes these crucial plays.
Yes. Did it at
And
Clemson. Yep.
yeah, it's like, he's quiet, quiet, quiet. Then he just pops out of nowhere and he like breathes life into this entire team. Like, we're still alive, into your TV watching the game, like Renfro, yes. You know, and everybody on this offense needs to be ready, because if your number's called, it's probably going to be a special play.
Yeah, no question about it. Talked about Nelson Aguilar, who's been great. I think it is time to kind of highlight that defensive line a little bit. I definitely want to shout out Dayton Jones and Chris Smith.
Yep.
And you want to see players who come off the street play like that. They played like their job depended on it, and it showed on Sunday. Thoughts about Cleveland Ferrell and Max Crosby. I know what kind of player Max Crosby is. I think Matt Crosby would be, could be a huge sack guy, even more so if we traded for like a JJ Watt, maybe, I don't know. But at least if Ferrell if Ferrell just gives me the pressures and gives me what he gave me this weekend, I know he won't be enough. He'll never live up to the number 4, but I can live with that version of Cleveland Ferrell, right, Sean?
Yeah, I think credit due there to Ferrell. He did have easily his best game as a pass rusher, right? We kind of know at times he can do some things against the run. He's not good at the setting the edge. What worries me, I think I know what kind of player we have in Mad Max, but you're right. In order for him to shine, we're going to need somebody, interior pressure or backside pressure, or whether it's maybe some blitzing downhill from somebody on the second level of the defense. But good on Ferrell. I think last year he had his best games against poor offensive lines, against Monday Night Football opener, against Denver, he had a sack, against the Chargers, both the Charger games. I mean, he made himself the bulk of his effective stats, if you will. But regardless, maybe it's a confidence builder game for him. I'm still not I'm not flipping the coin on what I think about him right now. But good enough. You're right, Dwayne. Like, we need Max to shine, and however we get the pressure, we'll take it. The good thing about the young guys that you mentioned, Smith and Jones, is that Collins hasn't been playing well, and Maurice has been a bright spot. Absolutely, he's COVID out, but Collins hasn't been playing that well, and he's already been talked to by Gruden. They already thought he'd be this, so that builds a fire, right? You're in the bye week, and Marinelli might be telling Gunther, like, no, I want Jones and Smith to take these snaps. Note that Carl Nassib is out with a broken toe as well. So you got to think, like, the defensive line is reforming itself a little bit. So guess what, Collins, we can't accept you. You're on a 1-year deal. I mean, we got other guys off the street coming out there and playing with their hair on fire. Yeah. I mean, just from a perspective of mentality, the things I saw flashing, I was like, I literally had to like check the roster. I was like, wait, where's this guy from again? Like, these are, and that was a concern that we'd be thin there. So there is a positive there, and I think you're rightfully so. It's good to bring that to the forefront.
Ken,
I love that. No, I love the tweet. I'm not sure which one of it was Dayton Jones or not, but they tweeted out, "Never had my hands on $500 million."
Jones.
Right?
Yeah,
I love that.
Closest I was to $500 million or whatever.
I like that.
Yeah, but I think I'm on the Ferrell train. I think that I agree that he was drafted too early, considering the talent that was there. But I mean, I don't know what's going on behind doors if other teams were looking at him. I do know that we needed a pass rusher and we needed a defensive end. I didn't think anybody is going to replace Mac in that draft, and I hate bringing that name up, but it's just the truth.
Yep.
The fact that Ferrell went and showed up this game on a national televised game for the most part, and everybody was looking at him like, you need to earn where you're at. And I think, granted that he didn't have like 5 sacks or anything like that, but he caused disruption every single play. He was back there. And that's what we want. He was, double teamed at points. He was making run stops. He was, if Mahomes threw the ball in his direction, he was jumping up trying to bat it down. I saw the effort, man, and they were getting home, and he was opening it up for other people. So, I think I don't know if something changed as far as his role or what they were doing, but whatever it was, It was great. And who was it? Fisher, I think it was the tackle that guards him, I think, on the left side there. Yeah, Eric Fisher, who's
Eric Fisher.
Fisher's really good. So it was it was a good day for Ferrell, and I hope that confidence.
He got Schofield.
Yeah. I hope that the confidence continues into the next game, because it's only going to get better if he plays with the confidence and shows out. And I'm curious to see. You brought up a good point. Like, what happens with these defensive? Mo Hurst is going to be the guy, obviously. But who's going to be playing opposite of him? Because there's options there. Obviously, we'd want to see Collins succeed because the money's going towards him. But if he doesn't, what happens? But I do think that you see how often people are getting hurt with no off season and whatnot. It's good to have that depth, and we know what we have in these two other guys that go back to the practice squad or whatnot. And it's all about health on that line. I'd love to see the linebackers get a sack. Come on, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, I really do like what I've seen as far as last game goes. I want to jump over to the secondary real quick, and I think that I did have a little section of my notes here, and I had like the little bad things in it, and one of them was Eric Harris. I think it's just time. I think the one thing I liked about this, while Jeff Heath is not going to be a superstar, he does have the ability, and then this is a talent to catch a ball that's not intended for you. and they're called interceptions, but like how many times have we seen INTs dropped? Like Nevin Lawson could have had one earlier, but he wasn't. He could have had two. He wasn't really looking at the ball, right? You know what I'm saying? He was still looking at the guy. Like, I mean, you have to have that talent of like, I'm gonna get this ball and intercept it. And he had one chance at an interception, and he made sure he got it. And he made sure it counted. I mean, look how far he ran, for the return as well, too. So, and he did that in Dallas as well. Just being in the right space at the right time.
Lots of those.
Lots of those. So that's really that was really cool. And I thought Abram is getting that reputation of being a good player. So what happens when you're a good player? You get the benefit of the doubt. How many times have we seen the play that he had, the deep pass to Tyreek Hill, be called pass interference? Was he there a little bit early? Yes, he was. But when they see you flying around and making plays, they start respecting you as a good player. And people were starting to talk. The only thing I worry about that play is he was talking so much, Ken, that he almost got a unsportsmanlike conduct standing over him. I was like, you made the play. Get off. Get back.
There were a few plays where he wasn't really involved in an initial tackle, but he came in to finish it up, and he's coming in a little bit late. He plays with his hair on fire. Literally, his hair looked like Simon Phoenix. Simon Phoenix there from Demolition Man. But he needs to, I love that he's the alpha dog, and he's becoming the alpha dog of this defense. And there was something that after the game that I really liked. As the players were exiting and they were throwing out their messages for the game, he didn't have a message. He just smiled. He gave like a big smile, like, what's up, and that's cool. I definitely like that. He's going to put some fear in the middle of the field there. Now, when you go back to Jeff Heath, it's weird because I was thinking – I think I said in our text that I thought somebody, what's his face, was going to get an interception. Not Jeff Heath, but who's the other?
Harris.
Eric Harris. I think I said that in our text, but it was Jeff Heath that got the. So I'm thinking maybe Jeff Heath is this year's Eric Harris from last year. Where Eric Harris made a couple good plays. And then we were like, oh, we got somebody there, and we believed in him, but it's just not working out. Maybe he's just more of a rotational player. And if you want to talk about bad, I think that's where you kind of started off with Dwayne. I do want to kind of call out Corey Littleton a little bit. So on that play, and amongst other plays too, but Jeff Heath was running it back, and he could have scored a touchdown, but Littleton stopped and didn't throw any blocks or anything like that. Not that it was good because Jacobs got a touchdown and helped my fantasy team out. But so I'll take that. But it's always cool to see a defensive, especially against Mahomes. We want to see a defensive interception touchdown. That'd be awesome. But the fact that Littleton on certain plays, he just looked like he was on the. I think there was a touchdown pass to Kelsey or something.
Big
He
play,
just
yeah.
was kind of floating out there, and it was kind of upsetting because I have a lot of hope for him. He needs to get his head in the game.
I would say I'll let Sean go with that, and I'll come in on Littleton. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I think there's some things brewing there with like how we're seeing the reputation of the players we obtained and what they're living up to. Like Heath was looking at like a borderline depth player, and guess what? Because of Harris not playing well outside of one pass breakup in the end zone against Kelsey, Heath was a bright spot. And in Dallas, if you can go on YouTube and just type in his name and look at his highlights, he had tons of picks where he came from the back side of the coverage and scooped in, whether caught him above his shoulders or underneath, caught it like a wide receiver and had a big return. So it's nice to have that out there. Isaiah Johnson also was still getting reps at, I guess, I'm not a film X and O guy, but I guess the free safety role, and Abram was playing free safety a little bit as well. But I mean, the way I look at it, Littleton, he's had some vague, kind of strange comments. He's not at home. His home, on that Rams defense with Aaron Darnold and all the talents and things they had around him, he was comfortable. I think he needs to find his confidence. I hope he does. He might feel like he's not being coached correctly. I don't know. This was a tough game. Like, he was lined up on Kelsey a few times. The color commentators, even said that, Littleton had spoken, I matched up well with him previously. So Kelsey had checked this on his calendar, like, okay, yeah, you think you can guard me. But Littleton, I do have a small amount of concern, but I think he might be a guy that, as we get a different feel on the second level of the defense, hopefully he emerges and he gets that big play that breaks him through, right? Like Carr has with Ruggs, like these other players are, or we're just waiting on it. But Kwiatkowski, to me, the way he played on Sunday, I was tweeting about it. He reminds me of Greg Biekert. He's instinctual. He's tough. He's a good tackler. He's a guy that is a good athlete in space, but also good footwork. Like everything's fundamentally sound, but he just plays correctly. So Littleton might take a little bit, but I know, Dwayne, you got some thoughts on that, but I'm cautious about it, but hopefully it's coming together.
Yeah, I think maybe if this is like this year's version of LaMarcus Joyner. So as the season goes on, I think you're going to see him get a little bit more comfortable in it. I've watched him for years because, like I said, one of my best friends is a Rams fan. So I have faith in him and turning it around. So I'm not too worried about it. I think when I watch some all 22, I see when they blitz the linebackers, it's getting closer. Like I know you mentioned Ken mentioned that I want to see a linebacker get a sack. Like I don't know, late in that last drive, Nicholas Morrow blew Mahomes up on that. It was just one. If we held coverage one more second longer, I think we would have had some of those sacks. I think Kwiatkowski was really close on getting a sack as well up the middle. Listen, if you come from Mike Zimmer and you're known for those A-gap blitzes, I want to see some of them. I think we're closer to getting home. So, like, this is a pass rush league. We all know that. There's a couple times where he came off the edge, Littleton, where I thought, like, get like here and just blow up the running back because he's getting chipped by a running back. The one thing I would say about, like, obviously Kelsey is amazing, so it's hard to cover Kelsey. But in the second half, when I watched some of that, watched the game back a little bit, they started jamming him at the line of scrimmage and not giving him the free releases. If you give him a free release, it really doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter. So you keep jamming him at the line. I thought that adjustment was really good, and also they did the same thing with Tyreek Hill, jamming at the line of scrimmage, giving him a tougher time in that 5-yard area where you can do something. If you can do those things, we'll see what happens. Listen, the tests don't get easier because, I mean, what does he have next time he comes out? It's going to be Gronk. It's going to be who else? OJ Howard. They still got Cameron Brate too, right?
Yeah, Brate is there.
Oh yeah,
on the team.
Nice trio. Yep.
Yeah, it's a nice trio of tight ends there, and we all know Brady loves to do that. But I do feel like it's. I think having both of those guys, 44 and 42, is just like it's so important to have both of those guys on the field at the same time.
Yes.
Because they're bringing so many things that are different. But I do think Littleton is going to be coming, and I'd also LaMarcus Jordan got hurt, came back up and played. And listen, he has not been the guy who he was last year. Last point that you guys go on it. This is like Sean always have that thing. Me and Sean have always had this thing here. Where we talk about Trayvon Mullen. Show me the tape where he gets beat. Thank you. Just show me the tape.
No. Mullen he's been
show me the tape where he gets
like and like the worst completions he's given up have been like, coming in like messy traffic on a drag route trailing somebody. I mean, things like that. And Mullen's been elite, and he did match up. Credit to Gunther as well. There were times when they split Kelsey out that were Mullen guarded Kelsey,
yes.
which is a good sign. Which is kind of reminds me of. Shit, I mean, we got to go back to like when Nnamdi Asomugha used to guard Tony Gonzalez. Same thing. It's funny, right? Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Chiefs Raiders, same thing. But
funny you bring that up. 'Cause I'm gonna get back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring that name up later on. But I just want to ask you: did you see when he was guarding Kelsey kind of like faked an injury?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
stepped on a Lego. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
He pretended he was hurt so he could and looked down and grabbed his ankle, and then Kate got up and broke off coverage to try to help get open. Yeah, that was still, and Mullen broke it up. He was right there, but yeah, Mullen is to me through 5 games.
Oh,
I don't think, unfortunately, he's going to get the national media love. But if you're a football savvy person and you really like to dive into film and stuff, he's playing at like forget the Pro Bowl. That's a bunch of fan votes. He's playing at a first, second team All Pro level right now.
I love watching him.
Good
play.
point.
I'm
not all pro. That's the key there.
Really is like, you can the fandom stuff is one thing, the blue check Twitter giving you nods is another. But if you really look at what he's doing, he plays very well, and he plays hard, and he's not intimidated by anybody. So I like a guy that can guard Tyreek Hill on 2nd and 8. And then on 3rd and 8, I'm guarding Travis Kelce. There's not many people in the league that move around like that. So I think Gunther, if at one thing, I like how he there was a little versatility on where he lined up and stuff in the past. Like it seemed like we always was like, well, that's a right cornerback, that's a left cornerback. Like no. Let's just realize Mullen can whatever down in situation, we can put him on the best lined out wide receiver target. But yeah, it was nice to see.
Everything was nice to see on Sunday, and I think I think one of the things that I want to see from the Raiders going forward is just if you got to pretend that number 15 is on every team, pretend that, and just
the game plan. Like just keep the game plan.
Keep being aggressive, man. Keep being aggressive. You guys got an offensive and defensive game ball.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I mean, obviously, I think you got to give it to Carr. I mean, with the offense, I just don't see who else you'd give it to, because it doesn't work if Carr doesn't work. And Carr Gruden, cut that ball right in half. It was a brilliant game they called, and it worked to a T. On defense, I think Crosby. Crosby and Furl. I think they both played well. They made Mahomes uncomfortable back there. They got in his head, and I liked it. I liked what I saw. Those are my 4.
Salt and pepper, man. You can't say Max and Farrell.
Salt and pepper.
Right there. Yeah. I think for me, because you said Carr, I wanted to say Carr. But because you said Carr, which is the obvious pick, for me, I'm going to say, like Dwayne said earlier, Colton fucking Miller. I'm sorry. Like, he's really year 3. I mean, the way that guy has developed, the way he's played, um, you know, the type of rushers we have in our division, just looking around the league and things, so important. A lot of those plays Carr made were confidence because he had time in the pocket. I can't guarantee you he was throwing, I think it was 11.2 yards per attempt. That's not happening if Frank Clark hits him in the first quarter with a swim move. Like, it's just not going to happen. So Carr didn't feel rattled back there. He knew at the time, and they protected him well. So I'm going to give it to Colton Miller on the defensive side of the ball. For me, I think the obvious choice is Kwiatkowski. I just feel like getting him back from injury and being the green dot guy. I mean, we gave up a shit ton of yards and points on the scoreboard. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think having a player that is smart and intellectual and roams the field well, I thought he was key. And then I guess my 1B player would be Jeff Heath, because that interception was, I don't know what you guys did after that, but when that interception happened, I was, let's go. I mean, I was up. Like Dwayne says, Raider Nation, stand up. I was up. My kids were looking at me like, what is going on? I was like,
they get a show out of it. Yeah.
I was trying to be a good boy because I had to go out to dinner for my wife's birthday that night, so I couldn't get into the festivities. But I was amped. So I think a good deal of players to highlight. It could go deeper, but I'm excited to see what Dwayne's are.
Yeah. So for me, I because I'm going to go with guys who I didn't think would make the roster.
Good.
And I think that Booker, Devontae Booker, good for him. Like, you know, good for a guy who struggled somewhere else, came to Las Vegas and worked hard and made the team, and is showing out. I mean, doing a really good job. And my brother-in-law is an Eagles fan, and he texted me, every time Nelson Aguilar catches a touchdown pass, he said, "Don't trust him. Don't trust him. Don't trust him." So, but right now we can trust him. And he's been phenomenal. Yep. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of targets, but when you get him, like, what do you do with it? And he got one call back on a play Buffalo, in the Bills game too. Yeah. In the Bills game, so definitely shout out to those two guys. I think defensively, I think the guy I was looking at, you know what? I'm gonna go with the unsung heroes, man. Jones and Smith. I think Chris Smith getting his first sack. Nevin Lawson's a guy too. You gotta watch Nevin Lawson.
Good point.
I thought he played well in this game. So, you know, listen, the Raiders go on 3-2 after playing a schedule that's 15-7. They have two really good teams coming up again. With the Bucks, will relax and enjoy for right now. But listen, good teams with 2 weeks to prepare beat somebody who they play. I think the game is going to be Sunday Night Football as well, right? Sunday Night Football with Al Michaels as well. So that should be good. The bad from the game, and we keep it real here on the Cover 3D Raider podcast. So the bad, mine would be Eric Harris. I think it's special teams, and if somebody gets hurt, maybe like certain situations at the goal line, like they did with Kelsey on that one play,
where he doesn't have to cover space. Yeah,
exactly. What are your thoughts about the bad of this game, Ken?
Sorry, technical difficulty. It's, you know, I probably have to say, I'm trying to stay away from the defense because it's easy to pick on the defense, and I'd probably have to say the fact that they didn't use Moreau more, and and Witten. I just don't think Witten's going to be the key here. But I don't want to pick on the defense because I think it's kind of we're beating
38 snaps to Moreau's 12.
Yeah, I'd like to see Moreau in there more. But then again, you know, Witten is, I think, utilized as more of a pass protector, I think. But I that's just me. I can easily point out things on the defense, and I'm going to stay away. I'm going to stay away from the defense. I'll let Sean take it.
Yeah, I'm a little anxious to say this, but I've seen it in Buffalo. Waller, he's had some uncharacteristic drops. There's been some situations where I'm like, he's gonna catch that ball, and he hasn't, and he's had a
Yeah.
fumble issue. He's had a so I do think you still look at him as one of the best talents we have on offense, but
Hmm.
I did like I said, I am a little like, if Carr's gonna, he's the highest targeted player in the offense. It's just looking at that, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's timing issue. I don't know if it's whatever it is, but you know, Waller needs to still maintain that reputation, for that. So I know a lot of people would probably say, "Oh, that's like," but I'm just being honest. Like he dropped the ball
Yeah.
a couple times where I thought I could have done a little better. And even the commentators, calling the game were like, "Well, that's kind of uncharacteristic and things." So I hope that's not like a theme coming down the road. The only other negative I can say is because I tweeted the score wrong. Carlson, he missed the PAT. That
Oh, I
that was
forgot about that one. Yeah,
big,
yeah.
bro. Like I was like
You know,
31-24
I didn't forget
Raiders.
that one.
And then I look back down, and then he kicks it. He fucking shakes. I go, oh, 30-20. That was. We saw a lot of that from him last year. I guess we could say, well, the games didn't matter as much. We weren't as good, but we still had a shot at the playoffs last year, even though we were a patchwork assembled team down the stretch.
Yeah.
But so I don't want to see that come back, because if we're going to be this team that, goes into double digits, looking at the playoffs, trying to knock off teams, chances are, if you watch the NFL, there's a lot of games are decided by a kick and a field goal and a late this and that. So I hope it's not a knock on his confidence. Gruden was not happy when that PAT was missed. And like, as us, everyone trying to finally close out the Chiefs at Arrowhead, I said, and there goes it. Kansas City came down later and did get the 2-point conversion to go down. But it's, to me, Carlson is something to highlight there. I agree with you, Ken. The defense, I could pick a multitude of people and issues and
Yeah.
schemes and coaches, but I think we already kind of know what we have there. We're just going to hope for the best. But Dwayne, I hope you have some good ones.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that concerns me a little bit is I know he's a running back who fights for yards, and he's a guy who we count on. And I think that the Raiders are doing a good job of spelling him with Rashard and spelling him with Booker. Is Josh Jacobs fumbling? He fumbled again.
Yep.
He ended up getting it back, but that makes he's definitely put the ball on the ground
Good point.
numerous times this year as well. So, and I was going to get to Carlson. I mean, here's my expectation of kickers. Okay. Give me everything within 40 and in, right? And don't miss extra points. Like, I don't think that I am asking for too much when it comes to being a kicker, as far as that goes. If you hit anything outside of 50, like he did at the end of the Panthers game, I can live with that part. I can live with it. That's always a bonus. But that bothers me that he missed the extra point. I mean, especially in a critical moment, and like, come on,
Yes.
it's extra point. Like, come on, stop playing games. Free agents. Somebody did DM me from the Cover 3 Deep Instagram about free agents. Michael Kendricks is in with the Raiders. We'll see if he makes that. Are there anybody who's out there now? There could be a situation where superstars get traded because you have people with big contracts like a J.J. Watt. You have people with big contracts like a Julio Jones. A.J. Green wants out. Le'Veon Bell, please, Gruden, leave him alone. Don't call him. Would like to also be somewhere else. Looks like maybe he's going to KC. Any thoughts about any of those guys? Would you see anybody who they would want to add? If you could add somebody who's like out there right now, you think there's somebody who the Raiders would do that, Ken?
Well, I want to just revisit the Bell conversation for a second.
Okay.
You guys got to remember, before he went to the Jets, everybody was tuned in to see if he was going to come to the Raiders. It was like last minute. Instead, we got this stupid soundtrack or this stupid album he put out, and he ended up going to the Jets, whatever. But I wonder I wonder if he did sign with the Raiders, would we have Jacobs? Would we have wasted, would we have taken
Yeah.
Jacobs still? Now, I think that, I'm okay with Booker and Richard, and it's going to work. But if for some reason Gruden wants another weapon, I mean, I mean, if it translates to win, I don't care who they signed. If they signed Bell and he okay with taking, getting snaps taken away from him, he's not going to be the feature back. He never will be. But imagine that if you have Bell and Jacobs and Aguilar and Ruggs and Edwards and Waller all in the field at
On
the
the
same
cheap,
time
and
on the
Bell on the
cheap.
cheap as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that because Bell's going to perform and he's going to play. But I'm not saying I don't want to mess up what they have going with this young nucleus, because they're playing like brothers, and you bring in a diva star. I mean, just go back and look at Antonio Brown. These two weapons that Pittsburgh have, two really good players, they let them walk. You know, so he got it. The Jets not doing too well. They need all the help they can get. They let probably their best offensive player walk. So there's something going on there now. But like I said, if it translates to win, I don't care. Jacobs is still going to be the man. And that's it. He is an upgrade over Booker in a way because we haven't really seen a lot from Booker. But I'm okay if they stand put. Kendricks, same thing. Like. It's going to add depth to the linebacker core, but you forget, Tanner Muse, if he can produce, that's going to be an upgrade. Hopefully he comes back after the bye week. But I'm not like jumping out of my seat for any of these free agents, to tell you the truth. I don't think there's anybody that I'd love to see another cornerback. I just don't know who's out there, and if there's a way to work a trade somewhere, obviously through a name Julio Jones. If Julio Jones is out there, I mean, shit. Yeah, yes, please. He's still putting up numbers, but yeah, Calvin Ridley's the future of that team. It looks like so.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt would be a nice addition. Obviously, he's a leader. He would be. He wouldn't be needed to play every down. The Texans, I think he needs to. So if he comes here, he would kind of be more of a rotational player. So yeah, I think there's possibility of some players. We got a good team, got a good nucleus going on. People are coming back from injury. Let it ride.
Yeah, for me, it's the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in Bell. It's not that I'm trying to knock his talent, ability, or the potential of what he could be. It's more so the offense is working. We put up 34 on the Saints. We put up a 40 burger at Kansas City. We're talking about a guy that might get 10, 12 touches a game. So we really don't need to invest there. I think it's the defensive side of the ball we need to be honest with. And I'm looking for a fire sale from Atlanta. I'm looking at a guy like Grady Jarrett on the defensive line.
Say it again, brother.
I'm looking at a guy like, and he's very comparable to Carl Joseph in my mind, but Keanu Neal, right? I'm looking at a guy in Atlanta, Dan Quinn put that defense together. There's some talent there. Linebacker Deion Jones, who knows? Like there might be something there. Kendricks, I'm cool with bringing in because to me, what's a name you guys have not heard on defense that we traded for and got just before the season? Have you heard Raekwon McMillan's name being called once? So guess what? I'll take Kendricks over him. At least he has more of an upside, more experience, more potential, a pass rush ability. You can play with him on third downs and passing distances. So we have to look. We have to make a calculated move. But to me, it's on the defensive side of the ball. Julio Jones, great, Hall of Fame, track, everything. But I like who we have with Ruggs and Renfro.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like – and Julio, you're adopting a contract that just puts you in a position that, hey, how are you going to pay Ruggs in 3 years? How are you going to pay Brian Edwards if you turn? How do you pay Renfro? How are you going to pay all these other guys? So, I mean, it's a little bit of a game, but I do think that the looking at renting a player on defense or building, look at it as a draft pick, right? You may lose a third, fourth rounder in a player swap, but you may get somebody that's going to be a difference maker for you on this defense. So
proven talent.
proven talent, you know,
I
and
wonder.
that's how I feel.
Yeah, and the name that you said, Grady Jerry. I wonder how much it would take to remove him or Tack McKinley from that roster. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how much of it.
Tack, I think, might be difficult. Well, he's still running on his rookie contract, right? So that's
yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question, but Dan Quinn is a defensive-minded coach, right? So he's on the out, and the from the ownership down, there's people on the out. So I think Atlanta is someone you call. We're gonna play them later. They may not, the trade deadline as it approaches. But
Matt Ryan is on the trading block right now for teams as well too. So.
And so if you're talking about Matt Ryan, who they recouped him on a gigantic contract after, MVP 2016 type season, they should have won. Should have won a Super Bowl. But I get it. I think they're moving on there. So Mayock's got to get on the phone, and he's got to be in Gunther's ear.
Some of these young players aren't going to want to stick around, Sean, because you said it. I mean, they're like, if they're going into rebuild, if you're losing your quarterback that's been there, that's a rebuild. And some of these players aren't going to want to stick around for that shit.
So the two places, so they're going to be a little careful in Texas and in Atlanta, because those are two highly desirable jobs, great places to live.
Yep.
They both have quarterbacks, and Eric Bieniemy is going to be somewhere around both of those jobs. So I think they're definitely I don't think they won't willingly gut their roster. I mean, maybe Whitney Merciless is a guy. Hey, I mean, that's a guy who I would love to see off the edge for the Raiders. So before we hang it up and go, you guys, what are your plans for bye week? This is a good Raider bye week. We've had so many bad Raider bye weeks. What are your plans for Raider bye week, Ken?
Yeah, it's I've been so nonstop busy with just all the different shit I do, and Monster Mash Ken, the name originated because I do custom action figures, so I'm doing this really big convention. I mean, not like big because of COVID, but there are limited people coming in and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I did one last week, a small one, but just to test it out. So I'll be there on Sunday. I'll check my fantasy teams. I'm doing pretty well on a couple other, not the CNPN league, but some other ones I'm doing pretty good on. It's like stress-free football weekend,
Yes.
So I spend some time with the kids. But I did want to shout out one thing before we go. Sean, you brought up a name, one of my favorite Raiders all time, Nnamdi Asomugha. I don't know if you guys know this, but he actually became an actor. He was doing a show which on Broadway, which it sucks because before COVID, it had its opening. I think they opened and then it closed like right away, so he didn't get that break. So it sucked. But he's actually starring in a movie which is on Amazon. It's an Amazon original with Tessa Thompson, who I absolutely love. She is gorgeous. If you don't know her, she was in Thor and she was in Men in Black. But this is called Sylvie's Love, and it looks like a maybe a 1940s type piece and based in New York. But Asomugha is awesome, and I think that he's one of the most underrated Raider players because
absolutely.
I've always he's one of the reasons why I just love the Raiders, and I don't know why I have not bought a number 21 jersey yet, but I one day I will. But Nnamdi Asomugha, check it out. He's on Amazon with his movie Sylvie's Love. Represent.
Cool. That's cool. Nnamdi, 21. I mean, and he's like one of those guys you throw back, like look at Al Davis, because he played a lot of safety at Cal. Right there in the Bay, and they took him in, and he was like, "You're gonna play cornerback. You're gonna play man." And no one thought, right? It was like, okay, here's Al being stubborn again. But that was one that really, 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 really worked out for him. But yeah, good point. For me, I'm enjoying the bye week because I'm 5-0 on my Raiders picks this season in the Cover 3D podcast. I'm gonna boast that, wear that on my chest. I got a beach cottage this coming weekend, right on the beach.
Okay. There you go.
Beautiful.
Don't you just live on a beach though? You're in Hawaii.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
isn't everything a beach?
staycation, man. It is. It is.
I do
but,
too,
but
so I can't. I can't. I do too. But his beaches, his water is way more warmer than mine is.
yeah, it's warm.
Yeah.
So here's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the island, the east side, windward side, but it's gonna rain the whole time. So we booked this thing a while back. So it's we got like storm Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but so we check in tomorrow. So I'm be fishing, smoking cigars, drinking and barbecuing, like you said, checking my fantasy team and things. But enjoying it. I mean, we're 3-2. Biggest win, Gruden Carr. I'm excited for the fan base. I'm excited, to put out this podcast and what we're doing. And I think what we have to look forward to is that, the health of this football team, where it could be, is really something you have to buy into. That to be 3-2 with what we've gone through, a lot of other teams have. I'm excited, but yeah, I'm gonna, I'll be on the beach with a margarita, maybe under an umbrella, but that's my plans, man.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm obviously chilling, still basking in LeBron's glory. Thank you, LeBron.
Hey, good for LeBron, man.
Thank you, LeBron. Thank you, LeBron. Thank you.
I'm very happy for LeBron.
You can shut. Skip Bayless shouldn't talk again.
No, never.
Never again.
Never.
But for Raider fans, I'd say, hey, check out the Browns if you got the ticket this week. We play the Browns in 2 weeks. Check out the Buccaneers as well. Check out some of the teams we're playing. Up close and personal coming up. And the reason why that was such a big win, look around the AFC. The Bills 4-1, the Patriots 2-2. In the North, the Steelers are 4-0, the Ravens are 4-1. The Cleveland Browns, who we play in a couple of weeks, they're 4-1.
Good division.
The Chiefs are 4-1. The Titans 4-0, and then the Colts are 3-2. It's, to me, if KC wins the division this year, let's make him work for it this time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Let it be week 17, and they, and like it's undecided who wins the AFC West. So that's what I'm looking forward to as far as that goes, and just kind of relaxing as well. So stress-free football. I can just chill and relax and actually drink watching football.
Yeah, there you go. Are we gonna predict? We're gonna jump ahead and predict the game. Are we gonna do another show next week?
So next week. So then the next week, I think we should do all. We'll do all Raiders Bucks.
All right.
Boom.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So
are they even the Bucks? Or are they the what do they call them? The Brady
Tampa, whatever. Yeah.
Tampa, fucking whatever. Yeah.
It is.
Tom, I forgot what down it was. Brady.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gruden's old stomping grounds. Yep.
I know the Lightning have won the Stanley Cup, and the Rays are going to the Super. Rays are going to the World Series most likely, but the Bucks ain't going to the Super Bowl. So don't worry about that. All right, guys. Peace from the boys from the Cover 3D Raiders podcast. See you next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace. Thanks for listening.
Go Raiders.
Yeah.